Hi there everyone, it's Fam here again for MTGOntario, and it's been a long overdue wait for this draft video to go up, but this is another Skies of Mirrodin 8-4 draft, and I'm queuing up a little bit early here and starting the video recording a little bit early to make a little brief announcement. As some of you might know, those who follow MTGOntario, that there has been a thread started thanks to Mr. John Booten, who has wanted to discuss the suspension of pro player Tomoharu Saito, and as many of you know, he is a good friend of mine, and my contribution to that thread has been to translate Saito's blog entries that he puts on his personal blog called Doppuri MTG, and because all of his posts are obviously in Japanese, he has been posting pretty much every now and then with regards to the next series of events that has been coming up. So you can check it out at MTGOntario.com. The direct link to the thread featuring part of my translations will be on the link below, so you guys can check it out there. Before any of you make any wild accusations or anything like that about Saito and this whole ordeal, if you want to just have like a little brief synopsis of my feelings on the situation, yes, he is a good friend of mine, and yes, I feel a little bit biased towards the situation, so I don't often comment too much on it. But I mean, how many of you could say the same about your friend if he was in trouble, that you wouldn't go out and defend him? But in any case, the translations, my rough translations, are out there, so it's somewhat understandable from what I've been told. It's very difficult to do translation work, so hopefully you can understand and get the gist of my messages there on that forum. So anyways, without further ado, let's get on with this draft. Okay, so looking at this pack, we have a lot of different choices here. First thing you look at is the rare, and obviously I'm not too excited. 8 mana 8/8 doesn't really do anything for you. I mean, it's not really Platinum Angel, so not really going to bother looking at it too much. Usually 8 mana creatures are just too hefty to cast. I think the only one I would like to play with is Legion of the Tangle, and even then I don't really like it. So moving on from there, you got Arc Trail, which is just insane. Arrest, also very, very good removal for its color. And then you have other notable cards are Chrome Steed, Corpse Cure. Yeah. For me right now, I mean, our choices are probably between the two removal spells. Corpse Cure and Chrome Steed are alright, but they probably can't hold a candle to the two removal spells there. Between the two, I'd probably want to take Arc Trail here just because it's more value. 2 for 1 is better than 1 for 1. I'm going to take that. So in this pack, we got not a whole lot going on for us. Being red, I usually like to be in either obviously red-white Metalcraft, or maybe even red-blue based Metalcraft. Red-black based sort of removal style deck is also good. This pack's not that great. The rare is not very good, and the rest of the cards kind of like mediocre. I think the best cards here are like Rusted Relic and Silvok Lifestaff. I think like just because like the power level Rusted Relic is so high, I don't mind taking it here. And I mean, we may or may not be Metalcraft, but I think I'll just take the risk and go for it now. The safer pick might be Silvok Lifestaff in case we're not going Metalcraft, but I think it's worth trying to take the risk and take the relic at this point. Unfortunately, because we passed the Corpse Cure and the Contagious Name in pack 1, although we didn't see any poison cards pack 2, I don't think I can move in on this like Plague Stinger, Ichor Claw, Mirror, Telegillad Fallen. I mean, there's 3 really good poison cards here. So the person to our right is probably not in poison. He probably opted to give us the poison signal. But the thing is, like, there's 3 poison cards here, so if we take one, we might just get hated out for the next pick. I think like the safer card here is Turn to Slag, which is in our color, and there's no reason to deviate here, and there's no reason to actually just potentially jump into a poison signal where someone else is just gonna might actually just cut us off. Like there's 1, 2, 3, and then 3 poison cards here, and then the Untamed Might, which is also very good for poison. So definitely not taking it here and giving the poison signal to the person to our left, which might be the same intention to the person to our right. So anyways, other notable cards to mention here, maybe Clone Shell, Saberclaw Golem, but I'm going to go ahead and take the 2 for 1 removal spell. So we got Telegillad Fallen, another poison card that's going to our left, and then we have Copperline Gorge, which is not that great. I probably would rather take a mirror at this point. One of two potentially on color mirrors, and then a shatter and a removal spell. So I think, I mean, at this point we could pick up a mirror, but we're probably going to have many opportunities later to find mirror. Although many would argue that in this format, if you don't take a mirror early, you're probably not going to get more opportunities to later. But I think I can't pass like Shatter, which is a potential removal spell for the deck, in place of a mana mirror, so I'm just going to do that. In this position, there's not too much for us. We kind of have to make a decision on what route we want to go with respect to this deck. I think we're definitely going to be sort of like a base red. We might go black and take this Moriok replica. Corpse Cur again, another poison card we have to ship, but what are you going to do, right? At this point, I think it's pretty clear for us that we're not in poison. I don't think we can move. I guess we could go like some sort of poison with red, but I don't think that's very viable. So I'm going to continue shipping infect cards to our left. I think it's either some like blue card like Nurok and Viziomancer, or a black card like Moriok replica. Everything else is sort of weak. I think I'm just going to take the replica. At worst, even if we're not playing black, it's a Grey Ogre that we can play, so I'm fine with that. In this position, we can either take a Necropede or a Volshop replica, or even Painsmith. I think I'd rather stick to more of a Metalcraft plan. And that being said, like Volshop replica is definitely a card we will play in our colors, but I think I like taking Necropede here because it is a defensive creature, but it's a cheap artifact, which is kind of key for Metalcraft. At the same time, it's a card that can provide us 2 for 1, even if we're not an infect. So I think I'm going to take that. I did see a game where Andrew Tingeki won off of Poison, where his deck featured only one single Necropede, and it went all the way. I think it had a little help from like Live Wire Lash, but otherwise, yeah, that's it. So yeah, it can be very good. In this position, we have to decide on whether we want to stay like with like maybe a red-black plan or move something else. Move it to something else. We have picked between Glinthawk Idol, some mediocre cards like Mirror Propagator and Memnite. I think I want to take the Idol here, and then hopefully go white, and then maybe have the replica on board or splash it off some sort of like black mirror or something like that. This pack's sort of unexciting. I don't really like anything here. Soliton could be fine. We might be able to move into blue and pick up like Heavy Arbalist. Everything else is just pretty weak here, and Ogre Greer Grabber is a 6-mana 4/4 that sometimes steal things, but I don't like creatures that are not artifacts when we're trying to go for like a Metalcraft based deck. And yeah, it just doesn't feel like it does enough, so I'm just gonna take a Soliton for the potential combo. In this position, you got Necrogen Sensor, Goblin Cavalier, and Disperse. I don't really see any sign for us to pick up a Disperse. Like, Soliton is not a good blue signal at all, and Necrogen Sensor is okay. Goblin Cavalier, we don't have any equipment, so I don't feel like picking it up at this point. It's also pack 1. I also just don't like this card. I mean, I could see the potential for having a busted equipment deck, but I'll take up the Sensor. Maybe if we go white and get some like Glinthawks or Glibberpost Stags, then we could sort of combo with a Necrogen Sensor. At worst, it's another artifact that helps us get Metalcraft, so this pack's also relatively weak. Nurok and Viziomancer still here. Apparently no one likes that card. I'm just not going to take Telgelad Defiance. I mean, it's a fine card, it's a 2-for-1 card, and it's pretty good against us if we're Metalcraft, so I'm going to take that out. Nothing here that's worth noting. I'm just going to take a Gear Grabber. Probably not going to play it, so I'm just going to go ahead and hide it. At the moment, I'm going to leave the Defiance there. We might be green, we might not be. Just going to leave it there just in case. Nothing really for us. I'm going to take out the Dinosaur, just in case someone wants to, you know, play a deck like Conley Woods, but otherwise, yeah, I don't really like the Dinosaur that much. We could be green-red based, but I don't really see a reason to play with these green cards. Just gonna leave it there for now. Crawlworm, you're still not good, even if you're generic mana and cost 1 more. So I'm probably gonna hide that. Yeah, I mean, deck's not great, but we got a bunch of removal spells in the first pack, which is fine. We sort of have like a direction to go in. It's probably gonna be base red. Preferably, I'd like to stay white here and keep my Glinthawk Idol, because it's probably better than either my Moriok replica or my Soliton. But that being said, you could play both those cards and not actually have to activate them, and they're still fine. Alright then, so looks like this pack is just about wrapped up. People are just taking their time. Well, I just noticed something on the side of my window here. One of the persons in our 8-man draft has disconnected, so that's probably the reason why the packs have been slowing down right at the end here. So hopefully he joins in again, or else that's going to be awkward for him. Anyways, here's the next pack, and this is quite a good pack. There's a lot of options for us. The options that are not very good for us, that I'll just quickly point out, are all the Infect cards here. And my favorite Infect card, the number one Infect uncommon card, is definitely Tangle Angler in my books. Then, like, you have a follow-up between Cyst Bear and then maybe Plague Stinger and Ichor Clawmere in some order like that. Telgiad Fallen is also very good. So there's a lot of really good Infect cards in this pack, and we're not making a choice here because we're not anywhere close to being an Infect, so we're going to ship those right along. The rest of this pack has a Mana Mirror, Palladium Mirror, Chrome Steed, Origin Spellbomb, all these great goodies, but I don't think they really can hold a candle to Nim Deathmantle. Probably one of the most broken equipment in this format. So I'm going to go ahead and take that card. Alright, so I think we have good reasoning to actually decide on a second color here, and Razor Hippogriff is probably one of the best uncommons for white because it has so much value, and it's just like 5 mana 3/3s by themselves without any other ability. 5 mana 3/3 flyers without any other abilities used to be just like the nuts in Limited, and people kind of forgot about that. And Razor Hippogriff is here to remind you that yes, they're insane, and they're a lot better when they're also Gravediggers. So looking at the rest of this pack, you have a Mirror Reservoir, Volshock Replica, but nothing really that great that can hold a candle to Razor Hippogriff, so I'm going to do that. And wow, I'm getting a lot of goodies shipped to me. This is tough. So first I'm going to clean up my deck that's currently showing and hide some things. Let's cost sort. We look actually not too bad here. We have a choice between Darksteel Axe, Chrome Steed, Bladed Pinions, Quarter Shield, and by that I mean we're taking the Darksteel Axe. The Chrome Steed has some reasonable consideration, but I mean Darksteel Axe probably will get me a lot more value, especially if we end up having a bunch of small creatures like mirrors in our deck. And it actually, having Darksteel Axe and Nim Deathmantle in the same deck will help bring up the value of certain cards like Sunspear Shikari and that trainee, can't remember his name, Bloodshot Trainee, yeah. So cards like those go up in value, especially if we have 2+2 equipment in our deck, so I'm going to pick that up. Chrome Steed's like, yeah, it's really good, but I don't think I can take it over Darksteel Axe right now. This pack's not that great for us. I think the only real card for us is Panic Spellbomb. I could see taking Furnace Celebration as an option here, but we're in like the middle of pack 2. We don't have any real ways to sack anything yet. We have like an off-color full Morioch replica, so I think I'm going to pass on the Furnace Celebration. If this was pack 1, I'd probably take it over a Spellbomb, because we'd probably have much more opportunities to get things that sack and help trigger off Furnace Celebration, but I think Panic Spellbomb was a safer pick here, so I'm just going to take that. I wish we were a little bit more open to take Trinket Mage, but I think I'd rather have Razor Hippogriff than Trinket Mage in this deck. Looking at the cards here, we have to make a choice of how we want to build our deck, I think. Origin Spellbomb is like probably the best value card for us. Sylvok Lifestaff is also pretty good, but I'd rather just have a Spellbomb instead, since they cost the same relatively and they help us get Metalcraft pretty much the same, but Origin Spellbomb is more value. One of the off-color mirrors could also be a reasonable pick here. I don't see our deck having too bad of a mana problem right now, but we don't know really where it's going to end up at. I think I'm going to take a Spellbomb here, and hopefully we'll pick up 1 or 2 mirrors by the end of this draft. So here's crossing our fingers.